Hey guys, so in this video you and I are going to talk about YouTube coding videos, and I'm here to set some fears aside because my a little birdie told me that there are some people out there in the interwebs who have been starting to learn programming and they find it difficult, and there's so many people out there on especially YouTube who make it seem so easy, and it seems that you yourself you can't really get it to work, and you spend hours on solving a problem or debugging some code, or not really trying. You have to search for things and you have to look things up. You hang on Stack Overflow all the time and you ask questions and you feel like you're just the dumbest person in the world, right? You're not. This is what I'm here to tell you. So let's get into it. You're not the most stupid person in the world. You are not. You are simply not getting a frame of reference. This was one of the biggest problems I had, and I remember it so well. I remember it so well. I was talking to my teacher back at the university before I even started working at my first job. And I remember a discussion with him where I was saying that what I find so difficult to understand is that I feel like the dumbest coder in the world when I work, when I have these hand-ins. I solve the problem, but it feels like I'm so slow. It feels like I make all these mistakes and I have many bugs, and I have to like rewrite things, and I have mistakes and all of that stuff. And he said, yeah, but this is very common. And then I said, I understand that when you're saying it logically. I understand that there's no one out there who writes everything perfectly. And I get that, but it's so difficult for me because I don't have anything to compare to. All I know is I can only see my own code, and all the examples and everything that I see in terms of resources on the internet and so forth. I mean, they do it perfectly, and it feels like they're so smart. And I can only tell you now, as somebody who's just trying to help you out, that you don't have to worry. I mean, I understand that I'm basically telling you the same thing that my teacher told me, that you don't have to worry about it. It is completely natural that you have a lot of errors in your code and that there are issues, and this is happening on a daily basis. I can tell you from only from my own life that I make tons of mistakes. Tons. And so does all my colleagues. All the time. It can range from having to retype the same damn function 3-4 times because you can't really get the keys to do what you want, to creating a severe regression bug and not just being grateful that you have other skilled colleagues who check your code to make sure that you don't do that, and they can help you and give you some tips and pointers. And that's why you should always try to work in a group if you can, and be humble, because trust me, you will make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, some more than others. And I'm probably higher on that scale than any of you guys realize. And I'm trying to be as humble as I can about this, because when I say that everybody makes mistakes, I really mean it. That's why software is so difficult, because it is difficult. It's really, really tricky. And I want you to remember that when you're watching videos of people who do coding and tutorials, don't fool yourself into believing that that is the way that it works. Think about it rationally. These people do tons of prep work. They research things. They don't. No one writes a massive project or something like that on the first try. They don't. They prep before the video. They edit videos. Some of them do that. They actually edit stuff. They have cheat sheets. They are preparing so that the experience for you as the viewer is going to be smooth. It's the same thing you see in movies where a hacker hacks the CIA database in 30 seconds. That's not reality. That's just so that you can get through the movie, so that you don't have to sit there, because if we had to wait the time it takes to hack the CIA database, we would probably be sitting here there still. Because trust me, even though it's possible, it takes years for. I'm just saying that, like, you have to think about it rationally. It's a prepared, simulated situation. These videos that you are watching that make you feel like the dumbest person in the world, these are not people. They are prepared just so that you can focus on the learning. But this is not how real software development works. Real software development has tons of errors. People make mistakes. They make mistakes all the time. Some people I look at, you can just take my videos. Have you ever thought about why it is that I don't live code all that much, and I mostly walk you through the code? Well, because I'm not very fond of doing a lot of post work. I want to ship content. I want to be able to give you as much content as I can create, and if I just prepare the code ahead of time, I argue that most of the value and the understanding and the learning can still take place, and I can focus on simply talking. Because if I had to write it all live, not only would the video take a lot longer, I would have to put a lot of work in editing and retrying and doing it over and over and over again just to get it right on tape. Because that's how tricky it is to get these things right. And that's why I want you to take away from this. Don't feel bad if it feels like you have to look things up, or that you don't get everything right on the first try, because this happens to everybody. Trust me. The only difference between a really senior developer in this regard and a junior developer is that the amount of times you have to look things up, and maybe a little bit of typing speed and problem solving is going to differ as well. That's the thing that's going to differ. You as the junior may have to have a little bit more time, and you might have to look things up a little bit more, and the senior is going to do it faster. But that's the main difference. I actually argue that's actually my argument for how if you have a really good company and a really good structured environment for producing software. And my saying is that if the only difference between a senior developer with 10, 15 years of experience and a junior developer with maybe 1 year of experience, if the only difference between the code that these two people produce is the time it takes to write that code, that's when you have a really, really good software setup or development setup with testing and procedures and processes and so forth. So that's what I'm telling you, guys. Don't feel bad if it feels like these people out on YouTube make it seem so easy, because trust me, they spend a lot more time prepping those videos than they may lead you to believe. Just trust me. You are not below average, you're not slow, you're not dumb or anything like that if you compare yourself to the people who are making these videos. Because trust me, that's not reality. Real software is so difficult that it takes a lot of trial and error to get it wrong. And a true developer is the sort of person who can endure all that bullshit and feel really good about finally getting things right. Because when you feel that sensation of getting that software written and it works and it ships that value that you're striving for, and if the next thing is very important, if all that sensation washes away all that frustration and makes you forget about all the pain that you had to go through to get that software right, then you are a true developer. Because that's the most important thing. We all go through the bullshit of trying to solve these problems and figure out a solution to all these different software related problems. And when it's all said and done and the code is working, if you just forget all your worries and feel really good about yourself, then you're going to be an awesome developer.